Oi. Fuck you doing, man? Greetings from the third dimension. How the fuck are y'all doing tonight? It's fucking Friday night. We have a good podcast coming up for you tonight. This will be episode 6. If you're keeping up, you know, if you drop in, or if this is your first time listening, this is episode 6 of the podcast, The Devin Perception, with your host, Devin. And, Steven, I have a guest, Steven. He'll be over here in a little bit, so I'm just getting the intro done now, so whenever he gets here, we can just get into it, you know? But, I'll come back whenever we're getting started, so see you in a minute. All right, bro. Go ahead and introduce yourself. We got Steven Lecure.
Yeah, that's the usual pronunciation. I think the fancy pronunciation is like Lecure.
Lecure?
Yeah.
Okay,
But
that's
gotta,
how you roll the R.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, it's like the back of the tongue, so it's like, I can't really do it. It's
Yeah.
Like,
Lecure. Okay.
yeah, just like that.
Yeah.
It's just not as long.
Real French, man. And it's crazy. Like, you did your 23andMe, right?
Yeah.
So, where's your heritage from?
All over.
What was like the main majority parts? Like your...
Well, I got a bunch of Japanese.
Oh, wow.
Because my grandma was Japanese. Then a lot of French Canadian.
I see.
Irish, some Italian, some Korean.
Dang, you're basically all over.
Yeah,
man.
I'm all over the place.
What about African? You didn't have any African?
Nope.
Well, yeah, you did say you had a lot of.
I had Neanderthal.
Yeah, Neanderthal.
Yeah.
Where the Neanderthals lived in, like.
I don't know where they originated from, really.
It was probably still Pangea when they lived. I bet.
Something.
I don't know. I didn't have a lot of Neanderthal in mine.
Yeah.
I had like a really, I think like. How did they rank it? It was like 5% or 10%.
Yeah, it was like there was a small
yeah.
percentage.
I think I was like
I just know
90% in the out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was like the opposite. I was like top 10 or 5.
Well, you could see like from your
my
your
brows.
facial features and
Yeah.
stuff. Like you have a big brow.
Yeah,
Real
that's
bushy
definitely from my
eyebrow.
pops.
Yeah. No, my dad, he was. I don't know. He doesn't even have facial hair still.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got all this facial hair probably from my white trashy side because it grows in all patchy and everything.
Yeah, mine does too.
But I don't know. My 23andMe, it came back mostly like Irish, French, and then the black parts were from West Coastal Africa, and then I think close to the Congo and stuff.
Yeah.
So
That's pretty dope.
it's pretty
Some
cool. But
jungle shit.
mostly it
Congo's
was
pretty
mostly
dope.
white people. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't expect
Yeah,
that.
mostly mine was all white as well,
Oh, really?
which wasn't a big surprise.
I wouldn't say white, maybe just lighter complected people. Because
Yeah.
even my dad's side, they were, I think his great grandpa was white, so.
Yeah. How do I fix this thing up here? There we go. Because I feel like I'm all.
You feel like you have to
Hunch down.
hunch down? I know.
Now I'm really getting the Neanderthal in here.
I really want to get those, like, you know how they have little things that,
Oh, hell yeah.
you know, on the
Little
JRE podcast, they're fucking, like, right there in their
Yeah.
face. Those are pretty dope.
Yeah.
But for right now, this is all we got, man.
No, it's pretty nice.
It's just mad difficult to try and get everything to work. Like, you don't know how long it took me to figure out how to get it. I was like, let me find out this isn't even on.
Right,
man.
yeah.
It took me I did so many podcasts and these were still turned off. Or I was
Yeah.
recording on my phone and I thought I was working on the microphone,
Oh.
but it was just recording off my phone.
Oh,
So-
is that what that original,
Yeah.
like, static white noise was?
No, that was the first one when I tried it on here.
Oh.
And because this one's microphone, the laptop's microphone,
yeah.
is terrible.
Yeah.
And then the phones
I
is a
think
little
most
better.
are.
But these ones, they sound pretty okay. It's just like a buzz sometimes.
Yeah.
And you can
From what
hear
I've
it.
heard, I haven't noticed anything, like, really distracting about it.
Yeah.
So,
I feel like it's getting better and better, though,
yeah, for sure.
the sound quality. But shit, like what we were talking about before, the fucking marijuana about to pass. So this is the first time
Yeah.
it got passed through the House, at least. in our state
So
history.
what does it have to go through now?
Now it has to go through the Senate, and then I think once it gets passed by the Senate, then it goes to the governor's desk, and then she'll sign off. And I don't know if it'll go to the ballot or if it'll just pass. Like, I'm not really... Nobody's even talking about it.
Well, I haven't really read anything about it. I just read, the article headlines. Yeah. I haven't had time to, really dig into it today.
I read, 10 minutes of it.
Yeah. So, I'm wondering, is this just, false hope?
I don't think so.
Are we really close, or is it just there's this one step of many that still need to...
I mean, well, it got introduced as soon as Grisham, the mayor, got elected. I was like, okay, well, I know she's gonna. She even said before she's for legalization. Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, at least it'll get brought up this year.
Right.
And then before they voted on it just this past Thursday, I was reading that even the Republicans were even getting behind it. They just didn't want people to be able to grow their own plants unless you're part of the cannabis program already, or...
Oh, they want to make sure and get that money.
Yeah, they want it to be, completely government controlled.
It's funny because in Washington, D.C., it's legal, but they don't have any way to, control it. There's no dispensaries in D.C.
So that's what they were talking about here. Even the cities will...
You're supposed to just grow it, personal... And you can gift it. You can't sell it.
What?
You can gift it. So
I guess that's where the Cash App comes in really handy. You just Cash App somebody.
Yeah, it's got to be a gift thing,
Here, I'm giving this to you.
Yeah, and then here, this is my gift to you.
That's stupid.
Merry Christmas.
People, I mean, why would they even...
Well, they just don't want to go through I think they just don't want to go through all the BS that comes with regulating it.
Yeah.
Because they have bigger fish to fry in D.C.
That's true.
You know what I mean? It's a waste of their resources to be busting a bunch of people for petty weed charges whenever they got a freaking crack epidemic and a heroin epidemic over there.
That's true. Opiates and shit.
And it's funny because that's the nation's capital, but it's still federally illegal.
I know. And then they have even a bill for federal legalization coming up too.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's passed the House yet, though.
Yeah.
But it's about to get brought to the House.
I don't see why eventually it's not going to be 100%.
Yeah, no, I don't see why either.
It's
I mean, if you look at how they treated alcohol for forever.
Yeah.
Think of how bad...
That shit did not work.
Yeah, think of how bad the black market was whenever it was, people were dying.
Gangsters.
Yeah,
them old
speakeasies
school.
and stuff. Yeah. And people were... just fucking each other up over alcohol, and then they were they even had protests we want to get drunk, we want alcohol,
we're trying to get drunk,
and then they were we're just gonna stop fighting this. And as soon as that stopped, when was
now it's
alcohol?
all super normalized.
Yeah, no, you can go anywhere and get alcohol.
Yeah,
children, even if children are accepted there, you could still get alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think it'll be a long time before, even if it is federally legal, I don't think that they'll let it be around.
Walmart.
Yeah, they won't sell it at, well, I don't know.
Maybe. Walmart's got money.
The Walmart people are fucking, they got hella money, man.
Yeah, and they're smart.
Yeah, they sell everything else. I don't know why they wouldn't.
Their network was whenever it first came out with their little RFID tags or whatever, it was the most mind-blowing thing for sales and distribution.
They're fucking mad scientists when it comes to selling people
making
things,
that money,
just monopolizing.
Yeah, which I don't, I think it's kind of a corrupt system, but at the same time, you got to respect how.
Yeah, you got to respect the grind.
Yeah, you got to respect how. What is it? Creative, I guess. Their marketing and all that.
Because I mean,
they made pathways for things that shouldn't even exist.
What's the system we run off of?
What?
It starts with a C.
Capitalism.
Yeah. I mean, it's a game. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So you got to respect somebody who's willing to.
And that's the game.
Put the time in to get good at it. Because I mean, it doesn't work for everybody, but you can get good at it. So
yeah,
you can't be mad at it. I mean, you can be.
If you want. Yeah.
If you're a little mom and pop shop trying to sell the same things.
Yeah, that's true. That's what there's two sides to every coin. You can respect all that, but then I saw this. What was it? It was a documentary called Meth Storm.
Meth Storm?
Yeah, and it's basically about Walmart completely destroying the city. They put up a Walmart in this little town in the South or the Midwest or whatever, and all these people lost their jobs because it was like a community run off of mom and pop shops.
Yeah, you can't.
So
it's like a Ruidoso almost.
So these like cartels and these big drug pushers like were like, hey, you guys need money? Here you go.
Yeah,
you know, and this entire town just like got taken by storm by meth. It's crazy, dude.
That sounds like it would be
and they
got Netflix original.
Yeah, and they got these like it's a whole family of like tweakers and
and that's like, all they do is just cartel, fucking like Breaking Bad type shit.
Yeah. They had some guy there, and they busted him, and he said, "Oh, I'm just trying to make a little extra money." To the sheriff, like him and the sheriff grew up together. It's a small town like Eunice.
Yeah.
So he's like, I'm just trying to make my rent money. And they opened his car. He's got like pounds of meth and like duffel bags full of money. I'm just like, this is not real life.
I'm just trying to make a little extra money. So that's 1.2 million.
But he was worried, like. That's a lot of shit he owes now to whoever.
To the cartel, yeah.
To whoever supplied him.
Oh, man. Think of how scary that would be to be. Like, if you got robbed. Ooh. Like, say it was just one job. They're like, it's easy.
Yeah.
Just real quick, drop it off.
And you got robbed.
That's $20,000 right there. And then you get robbed for like $500,000 worth of product.
Now you're stuck.
Oof. What are you going to do?
You know what would be crazy is if they needed somebody in that position, so they like got him all these drugs, and you're like, you're gonna run across the border with this, and then they robbed him with their own guys, and they're like, now you owe us free labor.
Oh, jeez.
And by
so they
the
just
way,
fucked him the whole time.
Yeah. And by the way, now your wife and your sister have to provide us with services.
Yeah, now we got y'all kind of under our thumb now. So you just do what we say, or we're gonna like.
That's the kind of corrupt shit that these.
It gets dark though. Like whenever you start or you create a black market for a certain thing because the supply is gonna be there. Like you can't stop humans from wanting to.
The demand will always be there.
Yeah, the demand, not the supply. It'll always be there. Yeah. Like for some reason, I don't know why. Humans just want to alter our consciousness. I was listening to what's it called, Shameless. I was watching this Shameless episode, and Frank. Have you ever watched Shameless?
I've seen like a couple episodes.
So you know who Frank is, though, right? He's the dad.
Yeah.
And he's William H. Tracy or something, I think is his name, like the actor. But
he's just a complete.
Yeah, he's a fuck up. He's just a fuck up. I mean, no, don't get me wrong. He's like he'll make shit happen. Like he's really smart, but he doesn't want to do it the right way. But he was saying man is the only species that knows about their own mortality. So that's why we feel like we have to do that. Because even as a kid, you want to alter your consciousness. Like I remember wanting to get dizzy all the time. Yeah. When I was younger.
And I remember we used to try and do that stupid game where you hyperventilate.
What? Oh yeah, I remember some of those
like
people.
Push on your
like
chest.
you hold your breath and then they'll push on your chest.
Push on your chest and then you black
out. Pass out.
Yeah, I was one of those dumbasses. Dude. I was that guy.
They asked me to do it, and I was like, "Can I see what it looks like?"
It's scary.
Yeah, it looks scary to watch because they're just like.
Yeah, but I mean, when I did it, we were bored. We were a bored group of kids. You know?
How old were you think?
The first time I did it, I was probably 9.
9.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty young, man.
Yeah, I was hanging out with a bunch of 6th graders.
You were trying to hang,
cool,
huh?
We were
trying to be the cool guy.
Yeah, we were listening to who is it? Korn. I was skateboarding, wearing Jinkos.
Yeah, because we're like in totally different generations almost. Yeah, because how old are you?
30.
You're 30. I'm 23. So yeah, you're basically. Yeah. When you were 9, that means I was like 1 maybe.
When were you born?
96.
Yeah, I was 9 in 97.
Yeah, I was 1.
So you were just a little baby.
So by the time I was 9, you were already.
I was getting.
you were
passing me out,
choking yourself unconscious.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is weird. I wonder how I've never been knocked unconscious or anything.
Yeah.
So I wonder what, except for like drugs, because when I went under for like my tonsils, I got my tonsils out.
Right.
So that's the only time. And that's the only time I can remember in my life.
Well, that's how. I mean, whenever I've been knocked out before, like in a fight, and that's how that is. Like you just out and then you're up.
What does it sound like? Okay, so walk me through. Like you get cracked. Like, what do you feel the shot when it hits you, or does it just?
I think. Okay, so the last time I remember being knocked out was, I don't remember how long ago. It was at a bar though, and I got in a fight with this guy in the bathroom. Because all right, let me just go through this story. So I was with one of my friends, and we used to go to the bar a lot. And he went to go take a piss. So then, like, a minute later, I was like, I gotta pee too. So I followed him into the bathroom, and he was pissing. And I was like, hurry up, bitch. And, like, this other guy that was pissing out the urinal thought I was talking to him, I guess. And turned around, he's like, what? I was like, oh, I wasn't talking to you, bro. Like,
you know, like, but you can't let that go.
He wasn't, so,
not
like,
at the bar.
He zipped up and he's talking all this
he
mess.
pulled his dick away, and he was like, nah, we about to handle this.
It was serious business to him, So we fought, and I beat him up, and he left, and I thought it was squashed.
Yeah, you thought it was over. Okay, we can move on.
Hell no, it wasn't squashed. Like, well, so we drank, and then we drank, finished our beers, and then we left into the parking lot. And then there was like 8 of them motherfuckers.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and I was like, ooh, you know, like I already know what's about to happen. I've seen 8 Mile.
You say.
So yeah, well, I just ran up to one of them and swung on him.
Yeah, you have to. Like, what do you?
Next thing I remember, I got hit by somebody, and it was just white, just a white flash. I didn't feel it. My adrenaline was probably, and I was drunk, so
yeah, you probably
I didn't feel nothing. It was like I saw a white light, just boom, like that.
Did you hear like a ring or anything? Like a boom,
not that
white?
I recall, but it's possible. I do remember waking up and like my hearing was like, you're underwater.
Yeah, okay. It was like,
because this girl was like over me and she's like, Steven.
And you're.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell? And I got up and there was the bar owner was there and there's like some people. It was in the parking lot, so all these people like came out from the bar to go see what was going on. And I guess they knocked me out and they kicked me in the head. My friend bounced.
Oh, they just dipped on you?
He got in his car and left.
Oh, he left? Yeah. Man. No, okay, I can understand if he was like behind the corner, like, okay.
Nah, he like left.
That's fucked up, though.
So then they were like,
not even a friend.
You want to call the cops? And I was like, for what? You know, like, they're like, so you can give him a description. I was like,
I beat him up a minute ago.
Like, yeah, it was like a bunch of dudes.
Which one? I don't even.
Casual clothes.
Are y'all gonna testify or anything? Yeah. Y'all aren't gonna say anything.
Yeah. So, and then I declined the ambulance, which was a mistake because the next day, whenever I was sober and could feel stuff, I couldn't even get out of bed. I had to go to.
Because you got kicked in the head, right?
Yeah.
So
they kicked me in the head while I was knocked out. My head was just banging around. I had a concussion, sprained neck.
Man, yeah, you fucked yourself up right there, man. That sounds like a good, getting fucked up real nice.
Yeah. I used to fight a lot, though.
Yeah, I've never been, like, nobody's ever tried me to the point where it was actually, like, a fight.
Well, it's
been little tussles before.
I used to try people.
Oh.
So, yeah.
You were a button pusher.
Yeah, I was. I don't know why, either.
You'd probably just being young, you know, that's probably...
It was just a weird...
Did you ever grow up in, like, an environment where you felt like you had to, like, test people?
Yeah, definitely.
You know, test people's alphaness sometimes?
Yeah.
I did, too, like, with my cousins, but mostly I spent most of my time with women. So they would test each other in different ways.
It was like an emotional thing.
Yeah, it was like a drama type thing. You know how girls are with each other, man.
Mm-hmm.
So I never... And then growing up through school, I was always kind of... look swollen. I was just chunky. Like, people thought I was, like, mad strong, though, so nobody really tested me.
Yeah. I
think the only time, though, I can remember ever getting, like, my shit rocked was in football. And it was, like, my sophomore year, and I played running back and stuff, so it was a pitch to, like, the right, I think.
Uh-huh.
So, like, I catch the pitch, and then I'm going, and then, like, I come off the corners block or whatever, and then the safety's coming down, so, like, I try and, like, soft shoulder him and cut to his weak shoulder. And then as I'm doing that, I see the linebacker, like, scraping over. So, like, okay, I just got to lower my shoulder. I can't get past both of them, you know. So me and him just headbutted each other, like, full-on just headbutted each other. Because we both tried to get lower than each other. So it was and it happens, like, that fast. So we fucking hit each other and then fucking bounced off each other. And as soon as that happened, it turned white, and I heard, like, a ring. I don't know if I was looking at the lights or anything. It could have been because I was, but also I would have seen other things, so that's why I don't. But I saw a white light just a quick flash of a white light.
Yeah, that happens anytime I've ever been hit.
Yeah,
I see
just
that
white.
flash of white.
I always hear like a thud.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been knocked unconscious though. I just saw the white light for like a split second, and then I remember looking at my hands, and I was like crawling, and then I fucking got up, and then they were like, "Are you okay? That was a big hit," and I was like,
"Concussion, maybe."
I just stayed quiet. I was like, "I'm good."
Yeah.
And so they gave me the ball again, and then I just kept running.
So you were good,
bro. It's never been to a point, like I was saying this yesterday on the podcast, it's never gotten to a point where I felt like I had to, like, couldn't do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Even, like, my freshman year, I remember I tried to cut back on somebody, and then they hit me in the knee, and this was on the first drive of the very first game of the season.
Right.
And he hit me in the knee, and my cleats got stuck in the turf, so, like, I fell over with my knee still, like, stuck there, and I tore the ligaments on the inside.
Oh, shit.
And as soon as I got up, it felt like, you know how your knee feels like it won't move like that?
Right.
It just felt like it was like that.
Damn.
And so I told the coach, and he was like, okay, we'll get a trainer for you at halftime. So I played, and I didn't come off the field except for, like, kickoff.
Mm-hmm.
So I played all the way until halftime with, like, all that. And whenever the trainer looked at it, he was like, yeah, you fucked it, bro. It's all torn. It's all
That's
torn
crazy.
up. And
Yeah, I've
like,
never torn any ligaments or anything like that.
It didn't hurt during the game because you have all the adrenaline going through your
yeah.
body and everything. But I slept on a futon at the time, and I remember rolling over, and my leg like fell over the edge, and it tore. I felt it tear like a little bit more, and it woke me up out of my sleep, and I just crawled to my mom's room, like on the other side of the trailer, and I was like crying, and I was like, hey, "You gotta take me to the hospital. 'Cause I think I'm gonna lose my leg." It was all purple and everything.
Damn.
Looking at it,
all fucked up.
Yeah, I wish I wouldn't have, like how you wish you didn't fight. I wish I wouldn't have played football because I don't know if you ever heard of like CTE or anything, but humans really aren't made to be hit in the head. Really,
no.
We don't have a lot of protection up there. Like things that are supposed to, like rams. Have you ever seen like a ram's skull or whatever? It's like built to distribute the pressure, and like a woodpecker too. I think a woodpecker's tongue actually wraps around its brain. Like it'll go and then it wraps around. Yeah, and it cushions it. Like if you're supposed to ram your head against shit, nature protects you.
Yeah,
but we're not.
Yeah, we're not.
You just hit a human in the head and we get all fucked up.
Yeah, people die from that.
Hell yeah.
There was
One good crack.
There was a dude I knew from Virginia Tech, and he played a football game, and then he, went about his business that night. He got hit, I guess. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah.
Woke up, or didn't wake up.
He woke up dead?
Woke up dead, yeah.
How you wake up dead?
Yeah, exactly.
Because you went to sleep alive. Of course you wake up dead. It's just scary, though. It's a really scary thing. But I'm glad I've never been knocked unconscious, as far as I know of.
This is not a good experience. That's one of those mind-altering experiences that's not...
It's not fun. Like, okay... Yeah. I remember you telling me about your salvia experience before I tried it, and how you seen like the dimensions fold like out like an accordion would. Mm-hmm. Nothing like that happened for me.
Really?
Yeah, no. I took the first hit, and it's almost like because I took 2 hits. Mm-hmm. The first hit, if I would have just stopped there, it probably would have been a positive experience. But the first hit, it felt like I melted into this like yellow and orange place, and these little figures. It was like, okay, have you ever seen, say it's like a clock, and then, or those optical illusions where they spin it really fast and then it looks like things are...
Oh, yeah.
One of those a lot. Mm-hmm. It looked like that, except they were all like singing to me.
Singing? Oh.
Yeah, and they were telling me, they were like communicating like happy things to me. They weren't like saying anything, but like I could tell what they were trying to say.
Right.
And they were even saying take another hit or whatever. So I took another hit.
It was like, yeah.
And then they were like, okay, now we really got you. Now you can't go anywhere.
Shit.
And that was whenever like I couldn't do anything. I just laid there. And it felt like...
It was a bad experience?
What made it bad is like they got stuck on a part of their singing, and it just kept going. Zip, zip, and it kept looping. And it's not that, like, I was like, I need you to stop. Like, I was going crazy. I was just like, all right, that's getting kind of annoying. This is pretty annoying, guys. Yeah. And then, so I tried to stand up, and as soon as I stood up, I felt my skin. Like, I noticed that I had clothes on, so I got naked because I didn't like the way my clothes felt. They felt like they were kind of like sandpaperish.
Oh yeah.
And really hot for some reason. I felt really hot, and then I don't know.
That doesn't sound fun at all.
I just sat on the couch and just.
It doesn't last that long though, right?
No, it lasted probably like 6 minutes total, but.
Yeah, it's like similar to DMT, I guess.
Well, with the DMT, like, I didn't feel. I don't know. It just felt like a safer experience, I guess, because the salvia felt like it was just
salvia, yeah. For me, it's always been like that, like kind of like iffy, like
like it doesn't take care of you
about it, yeah.
Because every psychedelic I've ever taken, it feels like we got you, like we got you,
right?
The mushroom, we got you. Acid, we got you. We're not gonna let this get out of control for you. We're gonna
salvia. You don't know, like
it's like it just pushes you in a room.
I feel like it's pulling me.
It's like come here, and you're good.
I'm just like stop. The first time my friend did DMT, that was his experience with it. Because I was like, he was my roommate, right? Mm-hmm. And whenever he moved in with me, he was just this metalhead, like emo, weird ass motherfucker. But we got along, which
like
was
My
weird.
Chemical Romance type of metal.
No, like Atreyu and Lamb of God. And
I see.
All right. Like real weird, like heavy, dark stuff. And you know I introduced him to psychedelics, which he fell in love with acid and mushrooms, and then the DMT thing, that I introduced that to him. But his first experience, I wanted him to listen to what the hell? I'm drawing a blank. Spangle.
Oh, okay.
Have you heard Spangle?
I don't think I've. I've probably heard. I just don't know the name, bro. Yeah, because I've heard a lot
you're missing out if you don't. Yeah, Spangle's great. But so I was like, Spangle, dude, it's like the perfect DMT music. Yeah, like it is. It's just like tribal drums, like crazy. I don't know how to explain it. They're their own thing. And he's like, no, that's the kind of music you like. I want to have the experience with the music I like. I was like, I don't think death metal is like conducive to like.
I don't think that's gonna guide you.
I was like, but hey, it's your life,
trip, bro. It's your trip.
So go ahead. And so he's sitting at my computer, and at the time I had like this badass computer because I was making music at the time.
Yeah.
So I had this badass computer with these sick ass systems, just speakers everywhere, and I have them all pointed at his head. And he takes a hit, and he's listening to this crazy, Burn the Priest song. And he was just, you can't really tell how they're feeling until after.
It's blank face mostly.
Yeah. And he comes out of it, and he just says, like, it was the worst experience. He felt like a Grim Reaper was, like, touching him in the back of his head, like, right on the crown, and, like, sucking the life out of him. Oh my God. I was like, that doesn't sound like a good experience.
That doesn't,
He's like, no. I was like, you should try it with Spangle.
And after Spangle.
After that, he loved it.
He tried it again?
Hell yeah.
Wow, he's brave, because I
think he just trusted what I had to tell him.
Yeah.
He was like, all right.
Yeah. I mean, definitely setting make a big difference in what happens. Because you're kind of channeling the energies that you want to, that are going to take you. Because I mean, I don't know, I'm pretty sure DMT just kind of dissolves the barriers that you kind of, because you can't be a normal person and be tripping on dimethyltryptamine all the time. So you have to put up these veils, that way you can get through a fucking normal day. Otherwise, if you're just seeing interdimensional beings flying by you all the time,
it would be hard to live in a society like that.
Exactly. Like if you just had machine elves and stuff. Because that's what Terrence McKenna would say. Like this reality exists all the time. Just whenever you take this compound, it dissolves like the veil or whatever. So I mean,
boundary dissolving.
Yeah, like you have to summon those good energies. Otherwise, it's going to show you it's going to show you that negative side too. Because I've had to deal with the negative aspects of trips. And I mean, it sucks, like, while you're going through it, but it makes...
I haven't had very many bad experiences.
I wouldn't say, like, bad experiences, but accepting, like, bad truths that, like, maybe I was oblivious to.
Right.
You know? I think the darkest one I ever had to accept was like I was on acid and we were watching Adult Swim off-air videos. I don't know if you ever watched those, but
I don't think so.
Oh man, they're like it comes on at like 1, 2 in the morning on Adult Swim, like on Fridays and Saturdays. Okay. But I think they give like they give 100% creative freedom. Like they don't tell anybody how to make their thing. So
right,
and they're like mad psychedelic. But I was watching this one. It was called Earth, and it goes into this this guy called Mr. Medilla. You should watch this thing called Mr. Medilla. But I was like peeking too, so I was fucking in the zone, bro. And I didn't break eye contact. I was on acid. Bro. I took like two tabs, and I was peeking and I'm fucking watching this shit with Aaliyah right here in the living room. And
he lowers his voice right here in the living room.
It fucking the thing it made me deal with though, like, is how do you know this isn't all in your head?
Right.
How do you know, like, everything that's around you and happening isn't a figment of your imagination? Because I'm pretty sure if you sit in a dark room, this happens no matter what. If I sit in a dark room where there's absolutely no light, or if I shut my eyes for long enough, my brain starts making things appear.
Yeah.
So how do I know that that's not what this is right now? Or how do you know you're not in a dream within a dream within a dream? A lot of the dark stuff that I never really thought of, I guess.
Yeah.
I thought of while I was on psychedelics. And I mean, it made me, it sucks whenever you realize it, because you're like, oh, that could be true. But I guess it's okay, because now I'm not going to be.
Matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. So I guess if it does turn out to be true, I'm not going to be surprised by it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I would hate to be surprised by it.
Yeah, I guess that would suck. Like, you find out you're like in some sort of matrix.
Yeah.
Like, oh fuck.
Yeah, imagine like
but
if
to
you
me,
were.
I would just be like, I knew it.
I knew it.
I had a feeling.
Everything just seemed too.
It's funny because
connective for it to be true.
Have you seen that meme where it's like, it says whenever you're peaking on acid and you figured it all out.
Yeah.
And then like a couple hours later, you completely forgot it.
You can't remember. You don't have that clarity in it. There's something about the clarity that you feel.
Yeah.
And mine's with like mushrooms. Everything makes sense when I'm on mushrooms.
Yeah.
Acid's just fun.
To me,
for me,
it's either one. It just depends on, I guess, my setting or whatever
That's
it is.
Too.
But there was one time when me and that same guy, we were watching some TV show, tripping on acid, laughing our asses off, and he went upstairs to smoke or something like that, smoke a cigarette.
Yeah.
And for some reason, the TV just went all like black and white. You know, like that weird static.
Yeah.
I don't remember why, but that wasn't important at the time. I just remember I was staring at it, and everything was coming together. And I, like, everything in the whole universe was just, like, closing in on a point. And I was like, that's the point.
Oh,
like,
my God.
For some reason, I figured everything out.
You figured it out, and as soon as it got...
right as soon as a point comes down, he comes downstairs, and he was like, what happened to whatever we were watching, Super Jail or whatever it was? He was like, what happened to Super Jail? I was like, dude!
Oh, you made me lose focus.
I just was about to figure it out, bro.
I was about to step outside the box, man, and you brought me back in. Did you watch that Bandersnatch?
Oh yeah, the Black Mirror thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did you have him do the acid on there?
Yeah, of course.
Did you make him jump at first, or did you make the other guy jump at first?
I made the other guy jump.
I made me jump.
Yeah.
Just because I was like, he's probably just gonna wake up back up in bed.
Well, I wanted to make him jump, but me and my girl were voting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And at the time, I was like, all right.
Yeah.
I plan on doing both anyway.
Yeah, I went back and did both.
Yeah, I just wanted to see.
It sucked. Like, nothing happens after you make him jump. It just says, oh, yeah.
Yeah, we had to restart.
Yeah, I had to go. You have to go through a lot of different choices and everything.
I thought it was a pretty interesting idea. It wasn't, like, mind-blowing or anything. But it was definitely, like, different.
Yeah, it was different. It was nice that
cool.
they stepped out of their comfort zone.
I like Black Mirror.
Oh, yeah. That's top.
So,
I'd say top 5.
It's like the modern day Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
You know? That's all it is to me.
This is it. And I think it's made in England.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's got a really good storyline and just all around idea. especially for the future.
Yeah,
because they take that
they've got some
technology.
crazy. They've got some crazy episodes. Like,
fuck yeah, they do. I've seen all of them. I think
that White Christmas. I think it's White Christmas, where the guy's like in the prison of his own brain or whatever.
The prison of his own brain.
Yeah, like he's like they digitally put his mind into like
and they like shock him all the time
yeah,
too,
they do
don't
all
they?
kinds of crazy shit.
Yeah, that's fucked, yo.
Yeah.
And they put that that girl in that doll, and all she could say is two things.
I love you.
Yeah, that show fucks with me, man.
It's crazy.
If I watch that like too high, it'll make me a little scared sometimes.
Yeah, like Playtest.
Yeah.
The video game one.
Yeah.
That shit tripped me out.
Wait, which?
The one where he goes.
Oh, and he like
he's playing the video game, and it's a virtual reality thing.
Yeah.
And he gets all fucked up. And
is that the one where he has like long hair and then his mom calls and he's like,
yeah.
Mom, and it was only like
At
he was in there for like fucking.
It was only like a second that passed.
Like
but in his brain,
second.
it was like all kinds of shit was going down. His mom was like dying and shit.
Yeah.
And then because they say call mom, and that kept repeating throughout the whole episode. They were like, you have to call your mom.
Yeah.
You need to call your mom. And he's like, he's just like tripping out on that.
Oh my god!
And it turned out that his mom calling interfered with the shit,
I know, huh?
And, like microwaved his brain or whatever.
That is so fucked, dude. And
just I don't know how they write that shit.
I know who comes up with that idea, like especially the mom idea.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel about a lot of Rick and Morty ideas too. Because I'm like, how did they come up with this? You know, I heard a theory that you remember the episode where he gets taken by, what are they? The Dothrakians? No, not Dothrakians. I don't know the names.
Like that's Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I was like, I just watched Game of Thrones the other day, but they're the ones that put him in the simulation. That way they can get his thing for dark matter.
Yeah.
But they basically said he never left that simulation. Like he's still inside that simulation. And everything else that he's imagined or whatever.
Everything else
or he's in the jail simulator.
In that,
yeah, he's either in that simulation or he's in the jail simulation still. Yeah. And he's thought of everything else. Which would suck, I guess. But I'm excited. They got renewed for like 70 more episodes. So that's at least 70 or 7 more seasons.
Yeah, they'll be around for a while.
Yeah, because, I mean...
They're creative and...
As long as they stick it... Because they play with existentialism a little too often. If they just tone back on the existentialism... They have a show that they could write literally anything about. Anything that they want to. And it'll still make sense. Like, with Family Guy, they get away with it because the whole universe resets every episode.
Yeah.
But they could keep telling stories and still talk about weird stuff.
Lines up, yeah.
And just be like, oh yeah, we just weren't following the original Rick and Morty. Like, how do you know you've even followed the original Rick and Morty the whole season?
Yeah.
You probably haven't.
It's all a simulation.
Don't get me started on that, man. Fucking... What's some other stuff I got here? Oh, okay. What do you think's gonna happen, like, at the moment of death, what do you think's gonna happen right after?
Fuck. I don't know, man.
I ask everybody this.
I think about that a lot.
Yeah, same here.
What I would like to think is reincarnation.
Yeah? Like on a...
I'd like to be reborn.
As like another human or...
Whatever.
Like back to Earth?
Karma thing. Yeah, even that's not even like within the boundaries. What if we come back as some...
Just come back as something,
other species on another planet.
Just imagine what it's like
and
to
they're
be
still,
something
but they're
else.
still basically like humans, you know?
Yeah.
They're all just like wondering if there's other life out there.
What if it's nothing like that? What if they're worried about like just weird shit like how to stick to a wall for longer or something? Just stuff that doesn't make sense or
doesn't make sense to us. But to
yeah,
them it's like everything.
Well, like I was thinking about this like as I was cleaning earlier today. I was thinking about because my son kept putting stuff in his mouth, and I was like, "Don't put stuff in your." The only thing you need to put in your mouth is if you're eating. Anything else is gross.
Yeah.
And then I thought, well, what if he asked me, well, why do we kiss with our mouths?
Right.
And I'm like, fuck.
I don't really
do we kiss with them? Because it's the closest hole to our eyes. I don't know, so it's the most personal one. Because you have to make eye contact or something. Like,
why do we do that?
Yeah, like, how do you... It would make just as much sense to kiss with buttholes, you know? Like, it would make just as much sense.
It'd be a lot harder.
It'd probably be a lot harder. But, I mean, you figure it out. Like, I'm pretty sure the first kiss, they kept, like, hitting each other in the nose and stuff.
And realized they had to, like, tilt.
Like,
they both had to tilt like that.
The tilt, yes. And then... If it was buttholes, though, they'd be like, the spread. Yeah. You just got to spread right.
That way
and then you tilt.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, though. Like,
yeah, so how much of our behavior is cultural and how much of it is necessity?
Yeah, like instinct.
You know?
Because you have no doubt. And it's weird how things are born with instincts. Like,
but as far as instincts go, humans have probably the worst ones.
You think so?
I mean... We're pretty much useless as babies.
We really are. Like, I'm looking... as soon as you said that, I was like, you think so? And then I was like, yeah, this guy's useless.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, we're useless. We're like the only species that's useless until we're like...
Literally,
I don't know,
all we know how to do is...
At 12, you might be self-sufficient.
Yeah, you can handle yourself a little bit. I could
cereal and shit, but... What if we was out in the wild, you know?
Yeah, no, I couldn't build shelter. I couldn't grow crops.
Unless that was learned.
Yeah.
Right? And that's more culture stuff.
Exactly.
But there's apes that they...
As soon as they're born, I think they know how to, like, crawl and hold on to their mom. Yeah, but they also have
stuff that they learn from previous generations. Like, how to build those orangutans that build their umbrellas.
What?
They, like, weave, like, little...
Like sun umbrellas?
Leaves. No, like rain, because they hate the rain for some reason. And they, like, weave it, and then the babies watch it, and then they're like,
learn how to do it.
And they, like, hold it over their head. Because I don't know why orangutans hate the rain so much, but they always look so sad. If you ever look up a picture
and it's raining, they're
just like...
Why do I have to be born in the rainforest? Why not just a regular forest? Yeah. Fucking... It's just weird, though, because... They're born with instincts. Like, I think the only instinct humans have is, like, we can fall asleep by ourselves.
We can suck on nipples.
And you could breathe. That's about it.
Yeah.
But, like, a chimpanzee, as soon as it's born, I think it can hold its mom, like, hang on while they climb or whatever.
Yeah.
They could walk to a certain degree.
Yeah, they can. They're pretty mobile.
Like, spiders can spin webs as soon as they're hatched.
Yeah, they're just born, like... They don't... really have like
and their moms don't give a fuck.
Maturation or whatever you want to call it.
It's weird because a lot of animals, they just don't give a fuck about their kids after they're born. Like a sea turtle, you're just like, all right, good luck to y'all.
Yeah, hope some of you guys survive.
I know at least one
their whole
will
life
make it.
is based on passing their genes.
I know.
And hopefully it survives, but they, at the same time, they're just like, deuces.
But I wonder how many eggs. I think they hatch, or they lay about 8 eggs, maybe, per bundle. But still, if you make it, you're going to live at least 300 years.
Maybe one of those makes it.
Maybe that's why they live so long, because it's like the balance. Not a lot of them make it, so they have to live for a long time. That way they can have multiple tries.
You ever seen those, that I don't know if it's Planet Earth or Blue Planet or which one it is, but
bro, that's my shit.
Got those fucking lizards running into the snakes and going after them. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the one Snoop Dogg narrated.
Yeah. That's the exact one. But the actual one, they just have like. Just see the lizards coming out of the eggs, and as soon as they're born, they're running for their lives. There's like a mob of snakes going after them,
and they're fucking everywhere.
Yeah. And they're like just running. And
they know they have to get to a certain rock. Like that's crazy.
If they don't run fast enough, they die. If the snakes don't catch them, they die. So it's just like
life is just weird in general. I don't understand.
Animal life is brutal, dude.
It's really brutal. Like nature is brutal.
All it is
well, think about
dire.
Outside of like our planet is complete chaos. Yeah. Like we're just everything's just so big we don't notice how much chaos is around us.
Right.
But we're surrounded by asteroids.
It's so big and far away.
Exactly. Like
it all looks like it's all perfect and
organized and everything.
Fucking wackadoo.
It's fucking, and we're about to collide with the Andromeda Galaxy, like in a couple of million
not
years.
about to, yeah.
Well, compared to how old the universe is, we're about to.
Yeah.
As long as we've been coming, we're nearing. And
I wonder if
and
humans
it's
will
so
even be
big.
around then.
Yeah, I mean, we should be
If we
because our
could-
sun's not gonna. Our sun will still be normal.
Yeah.
It won't be a red giant yet by that time.
Yeah.
But it's so big. Once we collide, we won't even notice a
Well,
difference.
because
really.
they're gonna like there will be some collisions between
it's 'cause
stars.
It'll probably do this, like
Hopefully-
lick each other and then shoot.
Yeah, there will definitely be some violent collisions of stars. I'm sure
Definitely.
they're fighting for space, just like the damn jungle in Africa.
They'll
All
probably
those
get
animals are.
flung out
Yeah.
and then brought back.
But then all that shit's just gonna make more planets and shit like that. It's just gonna
I
give
know,
birth
right?
to new solar systems.
Like anytime a star dies, it just gives birth to
Yeah.
new ones. Or if it goes, if it
in on
collapses, it
itself.
makes
Mhm.
a black hole, and then a black
Which
hole
is-
could be just another portal.
That shit, fucking black holes are crazy to me because they're purely like we've never seen one, right? We've seen the evidence of them.
Yeah, you can only like see the evidence of them.
Yeah.
You can't really tell that they're.
So they're just mind-boggling because I was watching a video and it was talking about a black hole the size of a small town on Earth
Mm-hmm.
has like the amount of mass is like 100 suns or something.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like 100 of our suns smushed into something as small as like Eunice or Lovington.
Oh yeah, like that's how
That's
much.
how massive it is.
That's how much mass is in
That's
that
how much
tiny
it weighs.
space. Yeah.
But it's only like that.
Like if you see, have you ever seen like diagrams like depicting things, gravitational pulls,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Earth sitting in space,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the sun, and then a fucking black hole comes all the way fucking.
down.
You
Yeah.
get spaghettified if you fall. Well, if you want to, if you wanted to fall into a black hole, I heard you have to fall into a supermassive black hole.
Yeah.
Because the gravitational pull isn't as narrow, so it doesn't pull you from your feet faster than it does your head. It kind of evens out, and it'll let you get to the singularity before.
But at the same time, dude, according to the math behind it,
Mm-hmm.
you wouldn't even know what you saw because time would stop for you.
Yeah, like they say,
soon as
if
you
you
reach the
fall,
edge,
if you were
you
in a
can't-
black hole,
You can't see anything. 'Cause
you can't
time-
see anything.
Time is stopped now.
Time has stopped. Nothing's happened. They say, like, if you turned around,
just
you would see
freeze.
the universe collapse in on itself again.
Yeah, because you're seeing all of time.
All of time happen,
Yeah.
and then stop, I guess.
And everything just freezes.
And that doesn't matter. Who sat there and thought of that, though?
Well, that's Einstein.
That's relativity.
Yeah, that's the relativity thing.
Think of, like, the seed thought that, like, snowballed into that math. Like, that just blows my mind, like, how we were able to figure out, like, I know, like, you could figure out math and make it work, but
Yeah.
who thought of this tool, you know? Like, who's the first one?
Well, yeah.
Kind of like the first
and then
monkey that
it's-
found fire and was like, oh, I can fucking make fire now.
Yeah, we can do some shit.
And Einstein,
just-
oh, I
that's
could,
crazy
it's
complicated
fucking
to me.
crazy complicated.
Especially coming up with like some new shit to explain shit.
Exactly.
Like E equals MC squared. Like,
Like, what?
okay. Like,
Okay.
I get it. I get what you're saying, but how did you even
How'd you get to this
that?
point?
Yeah.
Like,
Where
how
did
did
you
you
start?
Well, see, and then they fucking explain it, and then they can make it make sense. You know what I'm saying? But it just,
Yeah.
I don't understand how that happened. Really, what was I? I was about to say something. E equals MC squared. That's what triggered that thought. Fuck it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a hit with you. Are you just smoking nicotine?
Oh yeah. I might try that.
Yeah, I put fucking THC and some CBD in there. God, I love the CBD, man.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that helps with like the anxiety and
Some people say
the
that
panickiness.
it gets worse.
Really?
Well, I don't know about if it's CBD or THC. But
THC makes me. It's a lot. As strong as they're making it now, it's a lot like a psychedelic now almost.
right.
kind of
Well,
strips
that's how
me
it was
of
for
my.
me when I first started smoking weed.
Really, mine was not like my. I thought it was because I did psychedelics. That's why weed started. The experience of being high started
really?
changing.
See, I started feeling. I was feeling the psychedelic effects. I just didn't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
Because it was definitely like when I first started getting high, it was like middle school.
Oh, I see.
I mean, the first time I got high, I didn't feel anything. I don't know if I was inhaling because I knew how to. I was smoking cigarettes already, so
that's that weird thing I heard. Like some people, they just don't get high the first time.
Yeah, it was weird. Like because it was me and like two other kids. We were in 6th grade, and he like stole some weed from his grandpa. It was like some swag. It was like sticks and
just sticks and seeds
in there and shit. But like yeah, we smoked it, and I do remember getting extremely hungry. You know what I mean? Like, I went home and I demolished those little Debbie brownies. I demolished them, and
the ones with like the little.
And I knew the munchies were a thing.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel high. Like I didn't feel any different. I just felt.
You didn't
hungry.
feel the relaxing.
Nah, I didn't feel shit.
Giggliness.
Just hungry. That's
just
it.
Hungry.
Yeah, I remember they were all
like, this is fucking.
They were violent. They were all trying to fight and shit. Like
wow.
Like I don't know what they were doing. So I was like, I'm going home. You know, I ate some brownies.
The first time I smoked was at a party, and I think it was literally I think we graduated on a Monday, and so this was like a Saturday. So I was already 18 and everything. Oh, yeah. And it was the first time I drank too, so I got crossfaded the first time I tried anything. So I don't really count that because it wasn't a full-on experience. Like a pure... And it was only a couple of hits too, so.
Right.
But once I smoked, like, because I was playing beer pong, but once I smoked, it fucking beard me. I was like, I need to fucking leave.
Yeah. Especially drinking and then smoking. Yeah. Is like, for me personally, I just shut down. Like, I don't drink anymore, but I remember like catching a buzz and then smoking, and I'm immediately just either I get sick or I just pass out.
It makes me quiet for a second, definitely.
Oh yeah.
I get real
in your head.
Yeah, real in my head. Yeah. But the first time I smoked, I went home and I had one of those little raw joint rollers.
Oh yeah.
Because I didn't have a pipe or anything, so I had some papers, so I just rolled up a little joint, and then I smoked it, and I was trying to play Madden, and it felt like I was playing Madden. So like normally when I'm living like up here in the front of my face.
Right.
But for some reason, it felt like I was sitting in the back of my body, like noticing.
Yeah. All the shit around.
Yeah, I noticed like all of my facial features. Like I seen my eyebrows poking out and my nose.
That's like shit you normally can see, but your brain filters out.
Exactly, and I was like, why are my legs so far away? And I was trying to play this fucking game, and it felt like I was playing me play another video game.
Right.
And I was doing okay.
An out-of-body experience.
And then whenever I went and laid down, like in the dark, everything turned into looking like pencil scratches.
Oh yeah.
Like somebody was drawing, like Doug. Have you ever remember Doug?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it felt like.
Pretty weird freaking show, man.
Yeah, it was. I haven't watched it since I was younger, but
me either. But
I still remember
back on it, that guy's name is Skeeter.
Like he was green. There was a green guy in there.
Skeeter.
Yeah.
And then his girlfriend was like mayonnaise. Like I don't know who wrote that shit.
I know, right?
And Doug was just like a normal ass dude.
He was way normal, yeah.
That was his thing. Like, he was just like a regular dude.
Just a regular guy.
Surrounded by like weird people.
A lot of weird people. Like I still remember the fucking intro. I remember waking up all the time. Yeah. Do 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 do. That's that fucking Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Another weird show was Hey Arnold.
Yeah.
Had a lot of
weird characters. I used to love
characters.
That show.
Invader Zim was mad weird.
Yep.
Like now that I go back and watch it.
I haven't seen that in a long time, but
Billy and Mandy was really weird.
I don't really get into that. I think that's starting to get. I was too old.
Yeah, you were already getting too old.
I do remember my little brother.
These are all
my
cartoons. Yeah.
I remember my little brother watching them.
Yeah. So what you were into at that time? You were already into like all the older kids shows. Like, did you ever watch like the Legends of the Hidden Temple, or did you just hop right into like MTV? Because I know I did, like with the Andy Milonakis show.
Was my shit.
Oh fuck.
Andy Milonakis was dope.
Hell yeah, it was. Celebrity
That shit
Deathmatch.
was- Oh yeah.
God, I wish they would bring that back.
I
That'd
know,
be a
I
good
was
show
just
right
saying
now.
that the other day because some girl like put remember Celebrity Deathmatch. I was like, yo, Trump versus fucking Hillary or
Or Kim Jong
Kim
Un.
Jong Un.
Yeah.
That shit would be hilarious.
They could get a lot of people. They could have did
Especially
Eminem
right
versus MGK.
Yeah, especially right now. There's so much
There's so much beef.
drama. Yeah,
Who would J. Cole fight? Because you can get J.
Lil
Cole
Pump.
in there. Lil Pump? Didn't he die?
no, that was the other one. Lil
Lil
not
Xan?
No, it was not Lil Xan. It was Lil Peep.
Lil Peep. Lil
Peep.
Pump. Lil Peep.
Yeah, Lil
Or
Pump.
whatever.
Well, because Lil Pump dissed J Cole,
Hmm
and then
He said, fuck J. Cole in
Yeah.
a song or whatever.
and then J Cole made that one song on his new album, kind of talking shit, but
That, come in, little man, let me
Yeah.
talk with you.
yeah,
Yeah.
just but then he like did some YouTube thing with him where they were like hanging out on the couch and squashed the beef.
I'm pretty sure J. Cole, when he heard it, he was like, this nigga's just trying to get clout. Because in
That's
his
exactly what he
raps
said,
all the
yeah.
time, he's like, if I come for a rapper, it won't be for clout, it won't be for fame.
Yeah,
it
that
won't
was
be
from
'cause
that
nobody-
Middle Child. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that nigga goes hard, yo.
Hell yeah.
I fucking
I
love
think
that guy.
I think he's my favorite rapper right now.
Right now, yeah, like mainstream
just-
rapper, I guess. Because I have another favorite rapper, Pat Ron, but he's like underground right now.
Okay.
He's like my age though. He lives in Dallas.
Right.
That song I had on my podcast yesterday.
Oh yeah.
That was his
I
song.
was wondering what that was.
Yeah, it's a good song. It's called The Pre-Rolled.
Yeah.
But they have a lot of good music. Shit.
Yeah, there's a lot of good music out there right now. A lot
I
of
know people act
complain
like
about it.
yeah, people act like music's dead or whatever, but they're just
Nah.
not listening to the right people.
Yeah.
You ever listen to Tasha Sultana?
Huh.
You gotta get into Tasha
Yeah.
Sultana, man. She could play all kinds of instruments too. I think she could play like 12 different instruments,
Damn.
and she could sing.
It's talented.
Yeah, she had a video where she was just out in the streets, and then she'll have like her guitar, and she has this thing where she could put it on like a loop or whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
kind of like that one guy that makes beats, and he's like a nerdy looking white guy, and he makes beats.
Oh, and he like loops
yeah,
them.
yeah. She does the same thing, but with like guitar riffs and stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's pretty dope. Bro, these seasons keep fucking with my allergies right now because it keeps going from cold to hot,
Yeah,
from hot to windy.
yeah.
I can't deal with all these changes.
Keeps going up and down. Do you work outside?
I work mostly in like back rooms of stores. I work for
Oh,
like
yeah.
Coke, so
Oh yeah.
it's cold back there and stuff. And sometimes I gotta go outside, but most of the time, nah.
Right.
Where do you work, man?
I work at Hungry Horse, so it's an
Really?
electrical
Oh,
thing.
I see.
Yeah.
I was not
So-
gonna guess that.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say like, oh yeah, we breed
No.
and artificially
No,
inseminate
but
horses.
the owner of the company, he's like a horse
Oh.
cattle farmer guy.
Yeah, that's probably where the name came from.
Yeah,
Huh?
probably. I mean, I don't know anything about any of that.
Yeah.
We did install some panels for his like feed yard and all that. And he was trying to explain it to me,
And you were just
but yeah, it was
Hitting
one
with
of those
them.
where like somebody's telling you something, but you're like you don't know any of the lingo,
yeah, man.
and he's like the dang old ding 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 ding, and I'm just like, hell yeah, I'm just trying to be like as white as can
Engaging,
be.
yeah, you're
You know,
trying to
I'm just
engage
like,
with-
yeah,
yeah,
the
of
dang
course,
dong.
Talk back. I ding dong dang.
Yeah,
No,
that
of
dang
course.
old dog over there.
I dealt with that all the time at Sprint. People would come in with like, there'd be welders, there'd be just all kinds
Yeah.
of different people that have cell phone problems, and then they come in. Like this one guy would breed rabbits, like and show them off, kind of like people do pigs and
Yeah,
stuff during the state fair. And I'd be like,
Yeah, my bosses talked about rabbits and from the shows and stuff, so they're probably all in that same circle.
probably, man. And I understand, like, if you want to do like show pigs or cows or whatever, because at the end of the year, you get the you get to eat the meat or whatever.
Yeah.
You get to divvy it up, and then you break even.
Yeah.
Because it's basically cheaper than going to the grocery store. Then
Right.
and you get better meat
Well,
because you
sometimes
raised
they
it.
overpay for the animals just to contribute to the community.
Exactly.
It's pretty weird how it works, but
it really is. If
cool.
I was gonna do it, I would want a break to where it turned out being cheaper than going to the grocery.
Yeah.
And I got a better meat out of it.
You definitely get better meat.
Definitely. But rabbits. They let their rabbits get fucking like 50 pounds and shit.
Yeah, that's huge.
I'm like, what?
If
I walked out of my backyard and I seen a 50-pound rabbit, I'm going back inside. I'm not dealing with that.
Hell no.
It's
like a large dog, but a fucking rabbit.
A big ass fucking like a bobcat. They look like a bobcat almost, or a badger. Have you ever seen like a badger?
I don't think so.
You never seen a badger like in person?
Badger, and I keep thinking beaver. So.
Badgers are like that. And like
oh yeah. They're pretty badass looking.
Yeah, they're like black and white too.
Yeah.
They got claws and teeth. They're also like
I guess that's a rabbit's better than a 50-pound badger.
Yeah, fuck a 50-pound badger. I saw like it had to be like a 15-pound rat.
Goddamn.
And it was walking around like it looked like Chicago, maybe New York, or one of those big cities. But if it was on this table, it'd probably be like that long, and if it was standing up, it'd probably be that tall. And
like, them rats get huge, man.
I think a rat will get as big as its environment will let it, honestly.
That's what it seems like.
It's like a goldfish almost.
Yeah.
Because a goldfish, if you put
I've seen some big rats out in D.C. in the freaking McDonald's dumpsters.
Oh, man.
They're huge. They're like, the normal ones I'd see are like small cats. Like, small.
Like a kitten?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, well, bigger than that, probably. They're big, though. I mean,
they can get pretty big size.
When you're used to, like, seeing mice.
Yeah, like little, around here.
Little tiny.
Field mice and stuff.
Yeah, that ain't nothing. And then you see a rat, you're like, what the fuck? It looks like a mouse exposed to, like, nuclear radiation.
It's because they fucking, in, like, New York and stuff, I heard they just throw their trash in the, like, alleys and stuff. Like, you could just be walking through an alley and there'd be trash on either side of you. Like, people don't throw them in dumpsters because the dumpster people come and pick up all the trash.
You just throw the trash bags in.
So,
because there's not enough space, probably.
Yeah, there's not enough space for all this stuff, so.
Yeah. I've been in New York a few times, but I didn't notice.
No?
We didn't really go to residential areas. To, like, tourist shit.
Yeah, they say there's more rats in New York than there are people.
Yeah.
And they have a whole ass, like, little tribes and stuff, and a power structure, and alphas and stuff. Like, if you put out, they did studies and stuff. Like, if you put out,
I'd like to see a documentary like Planet Earth, but like
just
rats of New York,
right? Like doing all kinds of studies on them and stuff. Like they even showed like there would be an alpha rat, and he would send a beta rat out to test poison or like a trap or whatever.
Damn.
And so if he ate the poison, they wouldn't go eat it. He would wait until the rat like fell over dead or just woke up in the morning and be like, all right, we can go eat this. Or no, stay away from that. So that's how they get fucking big.
And they actually are pretty smart.
They're really smart. There's a lot of animals out there that are really smart.
Yeah.
Like a dolphin's cerebral cortex is big, so their whole brain's bigger than
dolphins are like crazy intelligent.
Joe Rogan called them water people.
Yeah.
They come up and look at you like people.
They're like, the fuck?
What's this fucking hairless little monkey?
Yeah.
You ever wonder why we only grow hair like on our heads? Like,
no, I never wondered that.
Because other apes grow hair. Like, don't get me wrong, we grow hair everywhere, but
they got like they're like
it's
hairy.
pretty thick, like coarse hair. I wonder if it's because, and you would think because they live closer to the equator,
they would have less.
Yeah, you would think because it's hotter.
That probably protects them from the sun more.
Maybe.
Like if you ever see roofers in the summer, they still wear long sleeves.
That's true. Yeah, you don't want all that UV.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but still, they do have darker skin. That's why they have dark skin too.
Oh yeah, like gorillas are black as fuck.
Black as fuck.
Black leather on their face.
It looks exactly like rubber. It looks like rubber, man. Like
it's
tires.
Like, it's kind of shiny too.
Like you threw some water on
gorillas
a tire.
Are crazy, man.
Fuck yeah, they are. They get to like 400 pounds, and they only eat vegetables.
Yeah. That's why them silverbacks, all they do all fucking day is eat.
They have to. They have to keep up all kinds of proteins and.
Yeah, of course, I was watching a documentary about them too, and this time I was doing it on acid. And I became passionate about gorillas, bro. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Because I wasn't like tripping out of my mind. It was like towards the tail end of it.
Yeah,
You know? And
the afterglow.
you're coherent and stuff.
You're really thinking about
yeah,
things.
and
like,
I'm flipping on that documentary, and I'm like, you know, their fucking land is receding. These mountain gorillas.
Yeah.
And like, there's like this war between these two African countries that it's in, and so they've got like all
it's fucking with their environment.
Yeah, the humans are. They've got all these humans going on the outskirts of this mountain to get out of the country that they're being oppressed in. It's like a lot of people, and they're like building little farms, and then the gorillas are getting into their bananas, and they're shooting the gorillas and shit. You know, like fucking up the gorillas. Like literally, they seen them. Like there was all these little African black kids, and they're all running up, and they're all watching this big ass gorilla like pulling out their banana trees, and they can't do anything about it.
You're not going to do anything to a gorilla.
Yeah, unless they're like shooting them. But
could you imagine? Like, did you watch the new Tarzan movie?
Nah. Is it dope?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Like, it's nice seeing like a live action version, but he gets to a point where he has to fight his old brother, like the gorilla he was raised with. It just seems really gnarly. Like if you had to fight a gorilla.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't want to.
Nah, I wouldn't want to either. Because it's like they put on a whole show, like a challenge. Yeah. He issues a challenge to him and everything.
A lot of them don't even fight each other. At least from the documentary I watched, like the rivals and stuff, they like most of their shit is like settled through their chest beating.
Oh, really?
And if like usually one just gets more scared, he's like, "Oh, that's an intense chest beat, bro. Like, go ahead." You know, it's crazy.
That is really weird.
And they like have some weird organ where it puffs up, and then whenever they hit it, it reverberates, so it's extremely loud.
I see. That is pretty cool that they don't fight a lot. Chimps fight a lot.
Oh yeah, chimps.
Bonobos don't fight very much though.
Nah.
It's because
chimps are like fucking savage, man.
Chimps are kind of psycho, honestly. Because like they're the most like us, I think. Because they'll cast each other out or whatever. Like if one fucks up,
and they use tools.
They use tools and everything. But bonobos use tools too.
Yeah, orangutans do too.
But bonobos just seem really peaceful, like as a community. But I think it's because they don't practice monogamy or anything. Like,
right. Oh yeah, they're all just kind of.
Yeah, they literally have sex more than any other ape.
That's what Terrence McKenna thinks. Like, whenever, have you ever read the
Stoned Ape? I have that book, bro.
Yeah, okay.
I have that book right now.
Yeah, that book is dope.
The Fruit of the Gods.
Yeah, yeah. The Stoned Ape theory, where they're all eating mushrooms and having orgies, and then all
it makes sense, man.
Together.
Yeah, it makes sense.
He's like, that's how we started. I'm like, what?
Maybe it could be. But I mean, I think about that.
I think it's an awesome idea.
Yeah, it's something to think about.
It would make a really cool movie.
It really would. If that's what happened, like just a section of like chimps or bonobos were broken off, and then they had to find a new food source, and they came up on psilocybin.
Yeah,
and
it sparked their
just thousands of years of eating this thing.
Their consciousness
just kept growing, and their brains kept growing.
I think that would be a cool movie to where like they've got this like, you know, almost human like species.
Yeah,
and they start tripping, and it like sparks like this awareness.
Yo, they should make a movie about like that with dolphins or something. Like, you know, there in the 70s there was a guy that was giving like acid to dolphins. You know why?
The same way.
Well, like the dolphin, they were doing like research, but it mostly got shut down. You know why it got shut down? Because they found out like he had to jerk the dolphin off a lot, actually.
Really?
Like twice a day.
What the fuck?
Because if he didn't jerk the dolphin off, then the dolphin wouldn't like participate in the like experiments that he wanted it to.
He's like, nah, bro, come on.
Yeah, so like the trainer that he had would just the dolphin would swim over and she would like jerk him off real quick. And what she would say, it's not like a bestiality thing, like I enjoy it.
It was like a scientific.
Yeah, it was like something that he needed to do, kind of like we need to feed him. We also need to jerk him off if we want like good results.
So bizarre.
Yeah, and they were getting like really good, like from what I heard, it was like They were learning a lot about like the dolphin's brain and how it reacts to new situations and stuff.
I mean, that's a cool study, and also it's kind of funny that they got to jerk him off. But
yeah, the guy was he was a weird guy though. Like I think he was fucking dolphins too. Like he would take acid and swim with the dolphins, and he would like fuck the girl dolphins or whatever. Damn. You know, they have something that you could go do that. There's like a place right now where you can go have sex. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. They say like, they have the most human-like vaginas. No, they have vaginas. Like,
well, yeah, I figured that, but I'm like, does it cost extra?
It doesn't cost extra to fuck his blowhole.
Like an add-on to the...
That's like their... That's like butt play to them. They're like, only on your birthday. I mean, if it's your birthday, then we'll think about it. But... we talked about almost everything on here except for conspiracies, really.
Oh,
you have any conspiracies you want to discuss? What's your favorite conspiracy? Like one that you recently got put on.
One that I believe.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's just the obvious ones. Really, it's hard for me to believe like really far out ones.
Have you heard any new ones that kind of stuck out to you? Like,
maybe the weather. What is it? The weather thing.
Like they're controlling the weather?
Yeah.
You think they can? I think they can control the weather, honestly.
I think to a point.
I seen a movie where they came out with like technology where they put it in the stratosphere and it's kind of like where the International Space Station is. They wrap the whole world in that. So if they see like pressure building up somewhere and it's going to cause a hurricane, they'll drop like something that'll release the pressure or whatever. Yeah, it'll dissipate it.
That's sweet.
I don't see why they wouldn't know about that already, you know?
Right. So I think we could control it to a point. I don't think they're creating hurricanes to kill a bunch of people.
Yeah.
As some sort of weird warfare.
You wouldn't think that they would do it for like population control?
Maybe. But
or like just to target a certain group of people for profit?
I guess it's possible, but I don't think...
Yeah, I don't think so either.
It's far-fetched.
It seems like you have to really reach to believe a lot of the
and I'm like really evidence-based person.
Yeah, I wouldn't state anything as fact unless it could be like replicating.
But I'm always open to like it's possible. I'm not going to be like that's complete because I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's the thing. That's one of the biggest things is I think like the government's got like people. Oh, the government's corrupt. We got to rise up and this. I'm like the government's got us.
Yeah.
What are we going to do?
The only way we could do anything, I think, is if we took back over media. Like
how can
the
you
only
do that?
and I think the only way we could do that. I think the only way we could come back with actually distributing truth to each other is through like podcasts and stuff. Yeah. I think that'll be maybe the next rise of media.
But the majority of the population doesn't get their media through podcasts.
They still go through
Fox News, CNN, all that shit.
But the internet's about to take over the TV industry. So maybe once
But they're not unaware of that either.
Yeah, that's true.
You already see it's so hard. Like, so if I'm going to get into like a political post, you know, I try and do some research. It's so hard to find unbiased political research.
It's always one side or the other side.
It's hard for me to see anything unbiased. Like, I'll go to like a liberal page and they're just coming up with ridiculous things about conservative Republicans, and then I'll go to another thing and it's the opposite.
And you can always find the contradictions in each one.
Yeah, and I'm like, can I just find like an unbiased political? You know, I guess it's hard because these political people like
they want you to choose a side. Nobody's really out there. Nobody famous, you know, nobody that has a voice is really out there that's promoting. Besides, like Joe Rogan, that's promoting. It's okay to not be on a side, like and it's okay to admit you don't know something. Yeah, because it seems they have to have an answer for everything, right? Even if they know that it might not be right. Yeah, they have to come up with something, and then they're okay with just blaming it on the opposite side.
Yeah, everything's got to be their fault.
It's just their fault, and they won't take their side's responsibility for anything. Yeah.
Well, I was reading some Facebook post, and it had And it was the same exact meme, and they were back to back, posted by different people at different times, though.
Yeah.
And it said, the Democrats, blah, 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 saying listing all this crap that they're responsible for. And literally the same post.
The same meme just
said the Republicans. And it was the exact same shit. And I showed my girl that it was last night. Yeah. I was like, look at this shit. I'm like, these people can't even agree on, like, who's at fault for what. Like, they're both just, like, throwing it at each other.
And it's weird because they won't even notice that they're on the same side, really, because everybody kind of wants the exact same thing.
Yeah.
They just go about...
There's, like, minor details that people are, like, split on, and they're like...
But it's just been pushed in your face. These minor details have been pushed in everybody's face so much that they seem like really big differences. Yeah, even though...
That's the power of control. You know?
I know, right? And
they're renting space in your brain.
Yep.
That's what master marketers do. That's what advertising is. Yep. That's what political shit is.
They want you to be a part of a team. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, they're kind of running off of our natural instinct to want to be a part of a team. Because that's how we had to make it in evolution, is you had to be together. And it's really easy
to take advantage of that.
Mm-hmm. They just figured out, okay, if they're all together, they're really hard to control. But they can all be together just in smaller groups, and these smaller groups are way easier to persuade than one big majority that know they're all the same.
And then, but then what's the point of the division? You know,
the point of it, keeping people divided.
Why are they trying to do that?
I think it's just so we don't talk to each other.
So we're not all.
Yeah, because I think once we start talking to each other and people realize, they're just like me. They want the exact same thing I do. They just go about it a different way, which is normal. Everybody goes about their whole life differently.
Well, it's normal to us.
Yeah.
To them, maybe not so much.
Who just does that at 10 p.m.? Even if you came to pick somebody up, it's fucking...
It's 10.
It's 10. Well, it's Friday, so I guess it's not that bad.
Oh, yeah.
I just fucking found out I got switched routes today. At the Coke place,
okay.
I started on one route and had these off days, and then today they were like, we need you to go to this route with these off days now. Because I was going to be off Friday and Saturday. Now I have to go work tomorrow, and then I'm off Sunday and Monday.
Damn.
So, I mean, that kind of sucked.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, we got to push it back a little bit, because now I got to go do some shit today.
Yeah. That works.
What's a fucking... I'm trying to think of a conspiracy that I just got. I listened to the Alex Jones podcast when he went on to Joe Rogan, and I was listening to him.
How was that? Is he a weirdo?
He fucking freaked out a lot on there, man. But you could tell he's a guy who really believes that he's really trying to help the world, you know?
Yeah. He's passionate.
Yeah, I think the craziest one is whenever he said that powerful people or the elite were pumping oxygen or DMT into people that way, and slowing their heart rates down to a certain... I don't know, they got it down to a science where they can spend the most time, as much time as possible in DMT land or whatever. And so they can communicate with interdimensional beings.
Right.
And they're having whole ass meetings about how they want the...
They've got a committee and shit?
Yeah, how they want the world to move. They want you to cut the population by this percent or whatever.
Right.
So, I don't know, I heard that and I was like, this just seems so elaborate for what... Because I inherently don't think anything has a big purpose or whatever, existentialism. I don't think that everything has a purpose or whatever. So it just seems weird that why would interdimensional beings want to control another reality in a dimension that they can't even exist in, really?
They're just on a power trip.
Well, maybe they can see us. Maybe higher dimensional beings can see us all the time.
Yeah, they've got
we're ants to them.
They've got the eyes that can.
But even then, if they look at us like we're ants, I've never seen an ant colony, and I'm like, I want to control these motherfuckers.
Well, they got fucking ant farms.
I don't have an
Not
ant
you,
farm.
but like, how do you know that fucking
Yeah, that's
interdimensional
true,
dude is like not some sick fuck?
He's just like, yeah, I like humans, so what?
Yeah, I like fucking with people.
It's not against the law.
Yeah, to him, like in his society, they're
It's
all
not
just
against
like
the law.
he's just trash, but
Yeah, he's like a fucking hillbilly or something.
but to
He's
us,
the-
he's some interdimensional mastermind.
Yeah, we think he's a god.
He's like undermining the entire world with his population control.
We need I can't feed all of y'all. Come on, we need to eliminate some of y'all. But no, he was talking about all kinds of shit. Like, they're trying to do human-animal hybrids. Like, they're trying to hybrid us with, like, cows and pigs.
Some posts about that, yeah.
I heard that, like, they fact-checked that on there, on JRE, and it was true. Like, they've been doing it since, like, the 90s.
It's fucking weird, man.
And it's to, like, they got it from, like, German scientists from, like, the Holocaust. Because, the Germans were fucking crazy back then.
Yeah, they were doing all kinds of weird-ass experiments.
They were trying to make, like, an elite soldier or whatever.
Yeah.
Like a beast.
The super race.
Exactly. I mean, they're gonna fuck around and make X-Men if they're trying to make like super soldiers and stuff, because that's what our government runs off of. That's what our little gang gets off on, is like guns and drug trade. Like, I saw a post. I was gonna talk about this. I saw a post today, and this lady was talking about how everything that we spend on the military right now could cover literally like food, shelter, healthcare, and everything, like 100 times over for a whole nation.
Right.
What we spend on war and military defense or whatever. I don't think people understand.
Like a small portion of our military budget could do that.
Like, you know how much we spend, like, roughly?
No.
I think it got
I know
increased
it's
to
a ridiculous amount.
I think it got increased to like 700 billion.
Yeah.
And that's like 70% of our budget right there, man.
Yeah. Well,
it doesn't make sense.
Well, I mean, they're in their defense. That's why America is at the top of the food chain.
I mean, kind of. When it comes to guns and drugs, yeah, we're them niggas, you know?
Right.
And oil. Guns,
now
drugs, and oil.
Now we are with the oil.
And we'll
Saudi
lock your ass
Arabia
up.
was ahead of us
Mm-hmm.
in the oil department, and now we're surpassing them. And they don't have any other. I don't know if you get into economics,
Yeah,
but
kinda.
they don't really have any other way to make money
There's
besides
nothing
oil.
out there, yeah.
That's why they're so like. I don't want to be racist or anything, but they're like pretty primitive
yeah.
civilization.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're not like spear throwing. You
Bro,
know, but
like
like
you
they're
can
like
tell just by how they're dressed.
they're
like,
dressed
what's
like that, and they
going on.
got fucking RPGs, and it just doesn't look right.
Yeah, you
know
can
what I
see
mean?
where their priorities are.
Yeah, and they got like these giant gold chains with pet tigers in their Ferraris and shit. And these are all people that are like getting money from the oil. That's why they're rich.
Exactly.
You know?
Or their dad owned oil or whatever.
But what I was reading was that they're not handling that money very well. And they're not really controlling their export rate, and they're not using the money to invest into something else for whenever the oil slows down. So they're really just screwing themselves.
Yeah, I mean,
they have they're sitting on this huge amount of resource that can be turned into something more, and they're just squandering it.
They need to do something, because eventually, and it's coming up pretty soon, I'm like seeing what they're doing with Tesla and all that.
Yeah.
Like,
the
what the fuck
energy.
do we need? Yeah, what the fuck do we need? This shit that's dangerous as fuck to pull up out of the ground.
Well, we use petroleum for a lot of stuff besides gas and oil. You know,
it's a big energy
plastic,
source, you know,
which is like used in everything.
Yeah, don't get me like, you know how many things of plastic I go through in a day, like at my job with Coke,
and any hospital,
God, man.
any everything.
Everything has plastic.
Plastic everywhere. There's plastic right there.
I wonder who invented fucking plastic. This is
I don't know.
Plastic.
Yeah.
Plastic. Like, I wonder who invented plastic, because it's a really durable thing, you know? It just doesn't break down.
Yeah, and it's
ever. maybe once cannabis goes recreational federally, then hemp will like make a big boom again.
That'd be cool.
Hell yeah. It saved the
I just
fucking
hope
trees
like
a
all
little
those
bit.
people that are so money hungry about their oil decide to pour money into stuff like that.
They're gonna have to do something because eventually, like that market, that watering hole is gonna shrink. If it doesn't go away, it's gonna shrink by a lot.
Right.
Because
and there's gonna be more money to be made elsewhere.
Exactly, because the big argument used to be, well, we'll always need natural energy because you can't make a good engine just off of electric. Right. And now Tesla's
killing it.
Yeah, it runs off of like 30% less power than most electrical. Yeah. And it could go from like 0 to 60 in 1 second.
Yeah, they're like crazy.
It's faster than anything almost.
Yeah. Their engineers are pretty damn smart.
That nigga Elon Musk, man.
It's crazy.
I don't know. I don't think he's from Earth? Man.
He seems like an alien to me.
Yeah,
him and Mark Zuckerberg.
If he's from Earth, he's probably from like the underground people, or
it's like a robot
sent
from the future and shit, like, to like save humanity.
Whenever you just watch him exist, it looks like he's like, if you ask him a question, he'll go, computing.
Yeah.
Well, you see, and I'm like,
I think that time he was on the Joe Rogan Experience was
like,
great because you can like see him, and he was completely like being pretty as normal as he can be. You know what I mean? It wasn't him in front of a bunch of cameras, like news, like got to make a statement.
It was literally three people in a room, and he was like just being himself, and he even hit a blunt.
Yeah, he did. Blunt. He did hit it.
Hit it for the.
It didn't look like he inhaled too much.
Nah, he didn't inhale. He just went. And then let it come out. You know, but still, he had the balls to hit the blunt.
He did.
Not a lot
on that, and he knew that Joe Rogan Experience is popular.
Exactly.
I mean, why would he be on it if it wasn't? You know.
How many other up and coming like CEOs or people who care about their stocks and stuff would hit a blunt?
None of them.
No, none of them.
And like for a second. After it happened, everybody thought it was going to be this huge deal. And Tesla was going to tank.
Yeah, I know.
And SpaceX was going to tank. And look, after like a week, nobody gave a fuck.
I think it only dipped by like 3 points.
Yeah.
For like a week, and then it went back.
Yeah, and then like, okay, we don't really care that much.
Because he kept saying, he was like, it's not that I smoke all the time. I never smoke.
It's just... he said, I actually don't like the way.
Yeah.
Like, for me, it makes me lazy and blah, blah.
Yeah. He was just like, but when in Rome.
Yeah.
He's a cool dude, though.
Yeah, and he was explaining the tunnels, digging the tunnels in L.A. He's just like, yeah, we're just digging a hole.
Just digging a hole
in L.A. I was just like, he just like, so like, Joe Rogan was trying to figure out like where he was going with that.
Yeah.
And he's just like, what do you mean you're just digging a hole? He's like, we just got a permit and dig the hole.
He was like, so do you have to get a permit or any? You just dig a hole. You know?
Just dig it.
You have to get it digged. He's a weird dude, though, man. Like it was cool watching him.
Imagine being that smart.
I know he was talking about it.
What is your perception of the world? You know,
he was like, what's it like feeling like all this and he was like, it's like a never-ending explosion.
Yeah.
Kind of like
he talked about when he was a kid,
like
whenever he came to that realization.
Yeah.
Like he was like, knew he was different.
Yeah, like I knew I was different than the other kids.
That's fucking crazy.
It is crazy. It's kind of like a blessing and a curse, I guess. Because I know I can turn mine off. You know? But I've been in points where it feels like it doesn't turn off.
Yeah.
Because I like try and write raps and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So sometimes it feels like it's replaying in my head, or I'm always having new ideas come in. So I couldn't imagine not being able to turn the creativeness off and feel like a curse. I bet.
Yeah, because I can turn mine off. I know I can definitely get in the mode, get in the zone.
Mm-hmm. That's what. And Joe Rogan was like, "Have you ever tried meditating?" And he was like, "No."
He ain't got time to meditate.
He says, "You humans call this meditation?"
Yeah, right.
I shared a meme the other day that said,
where he's on the zip line?
Yeah, and he was like, and humans enjoy this? Yes, Elon, they enjoy this. Then I shall too, yes.
He's got like a serious face with the whole outfit.
It looked pretty fun, though.
Yeah.
I've been ziplining. Ziplining's pretty good.
Yeah, I've been ziplining, too.
It's an adrenaline rush.
Parasailing next month.
Is that like... What's parasailing like with a...
You got a parachute, and you're, like, strapped in.
Oh, and the
boat, like, takes off, and you're like... You're like a human kite.
I would want to go parasailing before I went like skydiving or anything.
Yeah, that's definitely like the gentle approach to it. Cause
they did parasailing on the Big Les show on the very end. I don't know if you ever watched the Big Les show. You should though, but it's on YouTube. And he's he's like they couldn't get to the island on the boat because there was too many rocks. So he was like, I have an idea, and so he fucking did the boat, and then he was like, pull it, and then he fucking he did the fucking Jurassic Park shit.
That's pretty funny.
When are y'all supposed to go parasailing?
April 19th, like Easter weekend.
Yeah, where y'all doing this at?
Port Aransas.
Oh, okay.
You know where that is?
Is it over there by like?
It's like south of Corpus Christi.
Yeah, that's where I was.
It's like an island,
thinking, yeah.
South Texas. So yeah, me and my brother and Kyler. You know Kyler?
Kyler
Hartman.
Yeah, he's my age.
Yeah, he's my brother's roommate. So he'll be coming. My girl.
Who's your brother?
Kids. Lorenzo.
Lorenzo?
Yeah, you knew that.
I knew this, yo. And is his last name?
No, he's got a
Sandoval,
different dad.
right?
Yeah,
Sandoval.
yeah, we got different dads.
I see the resemblance now.
Yeah, the eyebrows. Right?
Fucking Ben. He works with. Do you know Ben? I know he hangs out with Ben Royal. Yeah. He works.
Yeah, he lives across the street from Lorenzo.
Yeah, exactly.
I see him every time I go over there.
He's the one who trained me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And he was telling me he's hanging out with Lorenzo all the time. Last time I hung out with Lorenzo, I never hung out with him outside of school or anything. Mostly in class or whatever, or at lunch or something. He was a funny dude. He was always high too.
Yeah, he still is.
Yeah,
actually, he slowed down a lot.
Yeah,
I take that back because he was, and then he got this new job.
Yeah, Ben was telling me he got a new like a oilfield job.
Yeah, well, that's where I was working, and I got him a job over there, and he was gonna continue, but then he decided he didn't want to get hurt, and then get drug tested, and then screw him up, or if they did a random, like, because he was liking the money.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because it's not like oil field. He's not on location like
24/7,
in the sun all day,
18 hours, 19 hours,
doing crazy shit. Like he's like repairing the valves.
Okay,
so they bring him to a warehouse and he like fixes them.
I did fucking pressure relief valves whenever I was in the oil field.
Oh yeah,
and it was I think I was making like $15 an hour, so I was bringing like.
I think that's about what he makes.
Yeah, I was making like $1,300 checks,
which is nice. Compared to his job he had before at Albertsons.
Albertsons, yeah, that's where I seen him.
I think he had worked there for like 5 years. He was like topped out at like $12.50 an hour.
Man, so. That's poop, yo.
Yeah,
you can't survive off of 12.
He could have gotten maybe a small raise if he was to become manager, but I guess they were like, no, you can't become manager because he used to always come in late.
Oh, I see.
Like every day.
You know, why are you here late? People, like, whenever my boss would tell me, because at Sprint, they would be on I would come in like 2 minutes late, and they'd be like, why are you late? And I'd be like, time doesn't even exist. What are you talking about?
Oh, shit. Yo, one time I went to a job whenever I was tripping, and I was a waiter. So it wasn't like that big of a deal. I wasn't like doing an office job or anything, but this was back in the day. That was with me and my kid's mom before we had a kid, and I had like been up all night with my friend Deanna, and we had tripped all night, and I was still tripping balls, like because we had taken more throughout the night. Okay. We started off with like 2, and then that whole time was like it was weird. I was in weird time shifts, like I was like teleporting forwards and backwards, and it was crazy. Anyways, it was one of the most weird.
Like it felt like time would speed up and then slow down, or
like I would like teleport to different times of the night. Like 1 minute I'm riding in my homie's car, the next minute I'm sitting on the back porch with the blinds open and the door halfway open,
and you don't have any recollection of like
I don't know how I got there. And then like the next moment I'm back in my homie's car, and I was just like, yeah, dude, it was weird.
I bet I
remember we just kept eating it.
Scary a little bit.
Yeah, and we just kept eating it. But so then I went to work. The next day I had my shift, And my baby mama, like, she picked me up and she was like, "Are you still trying?" I was like, "Yes." But I had to go to work. I had to make rent,
Yeah.
So I was like, "Let's do this," And by that time I was coherent, but I was still like,
yeah, you were in the zone still.
Shit was not looking right. Nothing
Did you
was sounding
like?
right.
I can always tell because the floor looked like it's water. Kinda.
It was like that, definitely.
Yeah,
everything was just kind of
I wouldn't want to have to go to work like that.
And I remember talking to people and writing shit down, dude, and going to the little POS thing, and just typing in their orders, and I was like my brain knew what to do, and I was like, I don't even know how I'm doing this. Like, I knew memory. I knew like this means no pickles and bullshit like that, dude. And I was like, that night, dude, I made more tips that night than I had ever made before.
Oh man!
And I just felt like I was a mess the entire night, though. I was just like barely scraping by, but like at the end of the night, I'm counting it.
Wow, I did pretty.
I'm like, did I fuck up my count? But no, everything turned out.
Everything was peachy. Yeah. How much did you make?
It was like $120, which is really good for that shitty ass restaurant.
Yeah.
It was like called American. It was American Cafe.
Wow. It was a cafe,
in Virginia.
I feel like a cafe would be hard to get a lot of tips.
They had some guy that thought he was a chef.
Oh,
I guess he did. He probably went to like culinary school.
Yeah, there's all kinds of those.
But like
guys,
he's like a microwave chef, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
there's so many of those guys.
Get his dirty rag and clean the sides of the plate to make it presentable.
Oh,
and I'd be like, bro, like, and he always wore a stupid fucking chef
hat.
Yeah, he was extra, bro. Like,
said, you don't have to wear that hat.
Yeah, and I had to communicate with this guy while I'm cooking, like, where's my spaghetti? And he's just like, what? Freaking eyes bulging out of his head. I'm like, Chef Boyardee.
Was he like morphing at all?
Because
I know when I
look at the face, it's all like this side of their face, kind
of. Where's my spaghetti?
Yeah, and I was like, I felt like I was leaning on my ex the entire time. Like, I don't know what to do, and she's just like, "You're doing fine. I don't know what to tell you." And I was just like, I guess I was insecure about it or something.
Yeah, I think it's just because you knew you weren't feeling how you normally feel when you're at work. So you felt like, but it was behind.
I just felt like a mess. I felt so.
Maybe it's because your emotions were just everywhere.
Yeah, because I had no sleep.
Yeah, no sleep.
Yeah, and I had just gotten through that crazy time teleporting.
Time jumps. That's a lot to take in. I couldn't imagine like not being there at all, and it feels like I'm going forward in time and then back in time.
And then now I got to get this fucking hamburger put into the system correct. Yeah.
I think I only went to work one time while I was tripping, and I think we did some acid. And I thought I had picked up a serving shift. No, I thought I picked up a host shift. Or a to-go shift or something. But it turned out it was a expo shift. And I had never done expo. And I was working at like Applebee's at the time, I think. So I get there.
Get all the food and...
Yeah, like, and I had never done that before. I was like, I hadn't even served yet. I had just been a host, and
some restaurants make you do that before you can serve.
I know, and
know what the food looks like.
Exactly, and you know how the food gets straight up and everything, but I didn't know what I was doing, and it looked like all the letters were still doing this.
Yeah.
And fucking swapping.
And you're like trying to figure it out.
I was just looking up at it, and I think I just left that day. Yeah. I was like, guys, I'm not feeling good at all. And people were like, yeah, get out of here because we've been training up our own food anyways. You just been in the way.
Just been chilling, like.
I was just like, you know that guy that's obviously not handling it well, so everybody tries to help him. And he still tries to like feel like he's helping by just being in the way.
Dumb shit, like
like this. No, that's not mine. That's not what the ticket says.
Yeah,
I'm like, bro, I can't read the tickets right now. I can't read right now. I can't comprehend words. I can't read.
Yeah,
they're all moving.
That's what I get if I'm looking at Facebook and I'm tripping and I'm like.
If I look at my phone at all,
well, sometimes I can read, right? But I can't figure out how everybody is so like. On their shit, you know, like they're having arguments, and I'm like, that's a good point. That's a really good point too. I'm like, how are they even thinking of this shit? You know, I'm just
said,
like,
I didn't think about that after I read that response.
Yeah.
Good for him.
I'm like, that's crazy.
I can read too, like, it just takes me a lot longer to process, like, what's being...
Like, what they're trying to say.
Because for some reason, my, the way I keep conversations going in my head or something, that just dissolves away.
Right.
So the way that I talk is not like in normal sentences. Like, I'll speed
especially
parts.
Especially whenever you're, like, when people are writing, it's different than, like, dialogue.
Yeah.
So there's a whole different, like, I think it's a whole
thought
different
process,
center of your brain that
exactly
reads versus...
Because even when I'm talking, if I'm tripping and I'm talking, I'll say parts that I'm supposed to say slow, fast, or fast, slow. Or pausing when I'm not supposed to pause there.
Then you think about it, you're like, this doesn't sound right. But the words still keep coming out.
Yeah, it just feels like I'm stumbling on every little thing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I can't fucking get my shit together.
Sometimes, whenever I'm doing that, I feel like I'm in the zone whenever I'm, like, talking. Because, like, a lot of times I have this, like, shit in my head. And then whenever I try and, like, talk about it, it doesn't just comes out like...
Yeah.
But, like, sometimes I'll get on that level whenever I'm tripping where I'm
you feel like Einstein figuring out relativity.
Well, I can, not only that, I can explain, like, what I'm thinking, like, crystal clear. I'm just like, yeah, that's what I've been trying to say this whole time.
I'm telling you, that's how it is when I'm on the shrooms, man.
Yeah.
If you were sitting here next to me and we were on some shrooms, I'll take you into some rabbit hole. Because it's like...
Yeah.
Each conversation just strings into the next, into the next.
Everything flows perfect. Yeah.
Everything's just plugging in perfectly. Okay.
That's why I had such a good time with that one guy who was my roommate. Because, like, even though we were, like, polar opposites on a superficial level, like, stripped of all that, we were, like...
The same.
Yeah, exactly. Like, our conversations would just go down and down and down. You know, whenever you're trying to think about the internet...
Yeah.
What the fuck is the internet? You know, like,
or a microphone.
Yeah. Like,
why is that loud?
Yeah. That's what, you know, and I've been trying to, like, I've been fucking with all these, like, electronics. Like, you know, how does electronics work?
Yeah.
Like
so you're trying to understand how, like...
Yeah.
How they...
Like how a microphone works.
Yeah.
Or a speaker, or...
You think about that, I don't, like, I know it exists or whatever, but...
Yeah, like a general idea.
I don't understand how I touch this and like it could sense and click and everything.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out now. That's like a hobby of mine now. I bought like this little kit and it's got like the, you know, the green chip boards.
Yeah.
It's got like that, except it's blown up, and there's like sockets that you can plug shit into, and you can experiment with different stuff.
I see.
And then you can like plug it in your computer and write programs for it. And like, so I'm like really at a basic level right now. Like I can control a fan to go one way or another way.
Nice.
You know, or like make it really fast or really slow.
That is cool.
Which is like really simple, but like I'm starting to understand. You know, everything's like, it's all fractal and a fractal and a fractal. Like, even this shit. You know what I mean? It's not just nature. It's just...
You're starting to understand, like, the inner workings of everything. Yeah,
and it's weird.
I'm pretty fucking sure, like, once you understand everything... I was sitting in the... I think today I was taking a shower and I was thinking... how does... After I put the gas in my car, how does my car convert that into... like kinetic energy to go forward? And if I could do it with this, like say you like we use oil and natural gas now, what other things could we use that could probably be more efficient or whatever, or not just efficient, but say like we have something like, what if you could make an engine run off of salt water? We'd be set for a while if we figured out how to do that, you know.
We'd be set forever.
Because then it would just evaporate back into the sky and rain back down. Or just water in general, you know.
Yeah, water? Yeah.
Because we don't even know how to turn salt water into fresh water.
We can turn water into electricity, but we just need massive amounts of it. The Hoover Dam.
Yep.
Niagara Falls.
You need it to be flowing fast all the time.
Well, in the Hoover Dam, it's not always flowing fast. They control it.
Yeah. Well, once you get like the channels,
they built it all the way down so that there's so much force trying to go into this tiny space.
Yeah, you got to make a channel, you know.
Energy, yeah. How did those motherfuckers figure that shit out? Yeah.
Well, I don't know. That is a good idea,
They're just
too.
like, hey, look at all this energy. What if we use this energy and turn it into some other energy that can... we can manipulate and...
Well, I noticed like... Okay, so if you open the back door right here and then open the front door, it throws off the pressure in the house like completely. Right. So it's like a straight line of air. And like if you shut the door further, then you hear the air. And I'm like,
it's
okay.
Weird, right?
It's really weird how, because you don't think about air like that. I was thinking about air like that when we were in Ruidoso this past summer. I was looking out, and you know how like when you look at mountains, you can see the air or the water molecules in there, and it kind of looks like a fog.
Yeah.
It just looked really pretty, and I was like, just imagine if like we could move through air, kind of like how animals move through water, like fish.
We could just fucking.
I was like, what if you could just push off and then slowly start sinking, and then you could like come back up.
Dart around.
I was like, I would much rather just swim through the air than fucking fly through the air, because flying seems chaotic.
It also seems like a lot of
energy.
Effort.
Yeah, it looks a lot like sprinting. Yeah.
Yeah, and hummingbirds. How they're just like.
God. You know how fast like their heart beats like 250 beats per minute or something like that.
Yeah.
And they have to have sugar like on deck.
Yeah.
From the time they're born. I wonder how they survive. I don't think they live for very long. Yeah.
Looking for
food,
energy.
Need food. That's almost anything though. Like there's not very many animals who have a purpose outside of
eating
and spreading their seed. What's wrong, bro? Huh? You want to get out? You think you could stop pissing in the house everywhere? Even though you've been here for 4 years? God. Shit, bro, we've been going for like an hour and 50 minutes.
Damn.
Right, it goes by pretty fast.
Yeah,
we gotta do this. We gotta do this again, though, man.
Yeah.
Get some more topics.
Yeah, I'm down.
I mean, I gotta go to bed because I gotta wake up pretty soon. So
I feel you, bro. But yeah, it's been real.
Hell yeah. Well, we'll go ahead and fucking stop this one here.
Cool.
Fucking play the outro music.